All said now, Dr. Gadsden. Go right ahead, kind sir.
All right, real good. Let me put down here, hit that. And let me just say welcome to everybody to the Writers Wordshop. I'm Nathaniel Gadsden and so glad to be a part of this platform, The Voice 17104 Harrisburg, with Brother Chris Thomas and Melissa Thomas. I want to thank them so much for the platform. And I want to thank you for, tuning in on a Friday night from 7 to 9. Every Friday night, we try to do this program. And we've been doing it for years. We enjoy doing it. It's all about writing and, loving the spoken word and all that good stuff. We're heavy on poetry, but also on novels. And some of us actually write some, historical pieces as well. And so anything and everything when it comes down to writing is what the Writers Workshop is all about. We have a lot of things coming up, response and all kinds of good stuff. And I want to tell you about those things. In fact, one of them will be coming up on August the 26th. It is a back to school program. And let me pull up the little flyer here that Nicole Wilkerson has put out there. Nicole is doing a fantastic job and just making things happen. But also, while I'm looking for that, let me mention that, our online magazine for August is up and running. And so if you have not seen it, please check it out. It's on, on Facebook. And if you go to my page, Nathaniel Gadsden page, but it's all over Facebook and Instagram and all that good stuff. I always want to thank Sarita Henderson and also, Nicole Wilkerson for what they do to make that happen. Hey, man, how you doing, Neil?
How you doing, Nate? Great.
All right, man. Good seeing you. Good seeing you. I was just talking about the online magazine for August is out. And what the? We'll do it. I almost lost control there for a second.
That's great, bro.
Bro. Oh my goodness. I just got to mention about Rose. I said, we lost Rose. She's down in DC. We were thinking about coming down there and rescuing you, Rose, kidnap you or something.
I missed you.
We missed you. How's it going down there?
It's just been busy. Like I was gonna come back the one weekend and then Theo had his national nickel conference, which was an entire week at a hotel at the Hyatt. And then he had another conference, and then it was hectic.
Fantastic. But you see Neil's on with this, Neil Owens.
Hey, Neil.
How you doing? Good to see you.
You too.
Yeah, I saw you also made it to Bus Boys and Poets.
Well, actually, I worked there for about maybe about a week and a half.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I decided it doesn't pay enough money.
Right.
Yeah. I totally understood where Langston was, when he was back there trying to become a poet, is because it is truly the starving artist situation there.
Oh boy, no. We're beyond that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's interesting. Okay. Well, anyhow, I'm just glad everybody's on board. I was just saying that we do have our online magazine up and running. And, you can go to Facebook and find it. It's all over Facebook. And if you go to my page, Nathaniel Gadsden, you'll find the online magazine. And I think Brother Chris maybe is pulling it up for us. Okay, there you go. Yeah, this is the August edition. And I do believe that Neil Owens is featured in there this month. I think for sure. Sure I saw it. Yeah. So, this is how it's going through. And we're looking forward to getting some work from Ro Brady.
I submitted something.
You did? Okay. Oh, let me make sure. Oh, no, you did. That's right. You are in there. Hold on now. I'm pretty sure I saw you up in there. That's right. It's always done. Sarita Henderson puts it together for us and always peruse it and give my, nod or whatever. But yeah, so you did submit something. All right. Let me see here. Oh, what happened? Okay.
How do I find it online?
Just go on Facebook. And just go to you can go to my page, of course. And and I'll send it to you if I had nothing else. I think let me see. Brother Chris, can you bring it back up there for a second? I don't know if you can or not. Let me see. Oh, there you go. Brother Chris is showing right there from Writers Workshop, everyone. All right. Copywriters Workshop Online Journal. Okay. It's actually a magazine, but that's all right. But yeah, so great. Anyhow, but we are open for submissions. And Ro, I'm glad that you said you submitted, and Neil submitted. And I know we had to cut back some because it was getting so large. And we decided that those who submitted this month who couldn't get in, they'll be in next month. And so that's why we'll do that, because we're trying to keep the page count down and all that kind of good stuff. But at one point it was like, wait a minute now, because it's online, it just went on forever. But I'll look through it again to see. And yeah, I don't see it. Okay. But anyhow, and I'm just glad you are supporting and submitting stuff and keep on writing. So let's talk about the process of writing tonight. I do want to start off with Brother Chris was telling me that we had a big storm that came through. I don't know if you guys experienced that where you are. Neil, did you guys have a storm that popped through?
No, we didn't have a big storm, no.
Oh man, we did. I mean, about an hour and a half ago, sheesh, it kicked it. In fact, I went into the one store and I heard them talking. They were saying how the lottery machine had gone down. People were coming in, they got that $1 billion thing up today and they couldn't play because the machine was knocked off. The guy said it had been down for more than half an hour. And then I don't know if you guys saw, how about you, Ro? Did they have a storm in DC or no?
They did, but they had a weather advisory for the wind, but it wasn't too bad. And we live in a high-rise apartment with floor-to-ceiling windows. So
wow, okay. Yeah. You'd have known if it was bad. Okay, I got you, man. Oh man. Well, anyhow, they had a major riot up in New York City. Did you guys see that?
No,
I heard about it.
Yeah, they just had it on the news. I'm sorry to see that. A young man who apparently has some, what do they say, 20 million followers on Instagram, the social media thing, one of these rappers, and he decided he's gonna, I don't know if he's planning a hoax or what, but he said he's giving out all these free whatever, and it looked like more than 20.
Oh, the PlayStation 5s.
What was it?
PlayStation 5.
That's it, yeah, and a couple other things he was saying. And he was actually there and, like in a truck or something, broadcasting from it. Yeah, like 20,000 people show up and they went berserk, I guess, when the guy didn't, follow through on what he said he's going to do. And then he made it out of there, they started turning, but they had to bring out 1,000 police officers to quell the crowd. And they went on for 2 hours. 1,000 police officers, man, come on now. Yeah, I hate to see stuff like that, but that's the power of the social media. They call this guy an influencer. I guess he is.
Right.
Ooh, I guess he is. Wow. So maybe we need to figure out what that brother's doing. Neil, I think we're going to come down your way. And
I mean, when you get on there and you start talking about you're going to give away PlayStation 5, people going to show up, man.
They're going to show up. And especially the young people.
Right.
Young people showed up.
Yeah, they're going to show up.
Then they turn on each other. Then they turn on the police. It just got to be crazy, man. But anyhow, I hope that everything works out. I understand he was arrested. I don't know what all they're going to charge him with, but inciting a riot was one that they threw out there. So we'll see. But anyhow, that's what that's about. So let's talk about the process of writing and what's going on in your world as far as writing is concerned. I do want to say, I hope that Lazille comes on tonight. I've seen some things on Facebook where she was honored quite nicely at a couple things. And one was a major publication, and I think she may have been the only sister that was actually lifted up, person of color. But it was a big award, and then she had something else that she was involved in, but she was dressed in all white. I don't know, did you see that, Neil?
I saw one. I didn't see the one of the all white.
Okay, yeah, she was dressed in all white and had a certificate, nice, whatever. So hats off to her. She seems to really be, pushing, and that's good stuff. What's going on down in DC area, Ro?
they did have a what do they call it, fringe festival here. But I still don't know my way around very well. So it's in an area where, I don't know how to get to yet, but I figured I got a while to figure it out.
What is a fringe festival?
Well, they have it there in Harrisburg. Maria and I participated in it last year there in Harrisburg. Basically what it is, it's kind of like snippets of theater. Like we did poetry.
Okay.
They had a group who's doing improv. You may have somebody who, bands or something like that, but it's just snippets of different performances.
And you said they had it here in Harrisburg? Where?
They had it last year because Maria and I participated in it. We did poetry.
Where was it held? Do you remember?
It was right across the street. Well, they had part of it. The part we participated in, we were doing some sort of pre publicity for Hair Story.
Yeah.
They had it right across the street from the Midtown Scholar. You know that little area?
Oh, yes.
And
Okay.
then they moved it to different locations. I think this year, part of it was at Gammoth, part of it was at Open Stage.
Oh,
I
okay.
they might have had some at HMAC, so it's bits and pieces of theater.
No, that's perfect. Okay, I didn't know about it. That's great though.
Uh-huh.
Good stuff. Okay.
Yeah, because I was talking to Stuart Landon, the director over at Open Stage, and a few years ago, we had participated in, I can't remember the name of it. Well, basically what you do is you spend the night in the theater and you come up with a one-act play. And then you get a team of about 5 people.
Okay.
So you've got at least maybe 10 5-people teams. And by the time you're finished, you know, you've got a full performance. So you do it, you spend the night, you get everything written, and then the next day is a tech rehearsal, and then you're performing it.
Fantastic. Good stuff. Good stuff.
He did that. That was so much fun. And I asked him if he's ever going to do that again. And this was before we realized we were going to move. I was like, please let me know, because he had invited me to come to a show that they were producing.
Okay.
And I was like, oh, I'm leaving. You know, this is like, if they ever do it again, it would be hard to do it from here, but it was such a great opportunity to do that.
Well, we're looking for ideas and stuff, and I kind of like that. In fact, you know, we had Lazille Powder come down to Harrisburg, and she, you know, performed. And I was saying to Neil, I'd love to get him up here one day. And I haven't talked to Queenie in a while. I'd love to get her up here one day to just kind of, you know, talk about what she's doing and all that. And so we're trying to really put together a lot of different things. We're working with the PAL, Police Athletic League. They will be, we're going to do a big thing for youth, and we're targeting the forum on October, I think it's the 28th. And so it's going to be, the PAL has the money, they're going to be putting up everything, and it's really their program, but they hired us on to make it happen. And so I'm working with Nicole Wilkerson and anybody else we can get our hands on, and looking forward to making that big. But also we're going to do an awards program in October over at Central Penn College. And we want to honor some of the writers like yourselves who have been, you know, integral to the Writers Wordshop. And, you know, we want to have a nice dinner. And so we're in the process of planning that. And then there's a couple other things going on, a lot of stuff. In fact, on the 26th of this month, we're going to have a back to school, you know, program. We did it last year out at Rite Aid off of way out on Derry Street. And it was a big hit. It was a huge hit. And so they contacted us and said, hey, would you do that again? And they will, you know, do whatever they can to support us. And already we have a wonderful flyer that I'll make sure you all get. In fact, I don't know if Brother Chris has seen that flyer. It was, Brother Chris, if you can hear us, it was on the page on Facebook, and it's a back to school Writers Workshop Life Esteem. And you may find it on my page or Nicole Wilkerson's, you know. So if you can pull that up for us, if you can find it, I mean, you know, if you can, don't worry about it. But let's see. Brother Chris is back on stuff. There it goes. So that's the flyer for our back to school event. And it'll take place on the, like I said, the 26th from 12 noon to 5 p.m. It's at the Dollar General. I said right here. It's at the Dollar General parking lot, 7967 Derry Street. And we're going to have food, music, face painting, bouncy house, games, prizes, and vendors. And then it talks about items needed. We've had great response already, thanks to the flyer. And you see that we have Aetna and Giant Foods are our sponsors. They've been sponsoring everything we've been doing lately. And so really looking forward to that. That should be a lot of fun. And already we've had some major donations given to us to give to the young people, you know, and yeah, so that's what's happening. So that's the world of the Writers Workshop right now. So let's talk about the process of writing and all that good stuff. So I know you have been in transition here, Ro, but have you been writing? And well, I know you have, because I saw some things that you had on either on Facebook or something, and you asked people check out what was that you were?
I have
That's
so
a
many
novella.
projects going on right now. It's not even funny.
I can imagine. Mhm.
I am in 2 anthologies right now.
Okay.
One is I am doing the historical romance portion of an anthology that will go for a scholarship for a writing conference.
Okay. Mhm.
I have really finished all the poems I need to do my second poetry book and short story book. So I'm really trying to submit for traditional publishing for that.
Excellent.
Been submitting.
Good.
And the anthology that I'm involved in, I've been promoting it early because it's sort of the introduction of a novella that I'm doing, the historical romance. So it'll be the introduction to it. And then if you want to read the entire story, you can read it from my imprint.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I've been really busy. I've written a lot of new poetry though.
Oh, really? Okay. Go
Yeah.
ahead now. See, you're gonna make me get all excited and start writing again. I need to, I tell you that. I certainly need to. Well, this is good news, good stuff. And if we lose Neil, I hope Neil comes back in. I wanted to find out what's popping with him. I know it's a lot going on with Neil as well. By the way, Ro, I don't know if you noticed or not, but there was Daniel Fordham. Danny Fordham.
Yeah.
Yeah, he had a movie that he produced and directed and everything else, and it's called 21st Century Band. And he premiered it about a month ago. And I'm telling you, he had it at the Regal Theater in the largest theater, and it was standing room only. And it was a blast because he had a lot of people in the movie who were just, everyday people that we know and this and that, but it was a true story. And so a lot of the people that were actually the stories about were actually in the audience and actually came, even if they were out of town, they came back for it. And it was like a big premiere. They had the police everywhere because so many people crowded in there, it was excellent. It was really, really good. So he's having that again tomorrow. He's going to do a rebroadcast of it, if you will, a re-showing of it tomorrow over at the Regal Theater. And it looks as if he's having another big turnout. So that's great for him.
Yeah, that's
Danny Fordham. Yeah. And it's all about Harrisburg, so he talks about a lot of things that, that we know about. So I was trying to find, let me see here. There's one thing I wanted to double check something. You mentioned the magazine there. Just want to double check. But anyhow, let's talk about the process of writing. Anything that, that we want to rap about tonight, anything that, that third time a charm, that's not you, that's Neil, I think. Yeah, let's see here. Okay, I'm just looking at the magazine here. Let's see. Yeah, it's Neil Owens, third time a charm. Okay, good. Yeah, anything that, you want to introduce us to, Shantae James. I don't know if you've ever heard of her or met her yet, but she's a professor down at Penn State Harrisburg, and she has written a number. One book in particular is called Murder, something about college campus. I forget the full title. I have it in the room there. But we interviewed her yesterday. But she came to our retreat that we had over at Elizabethtown College, and she is excellent.
Don't remind me of all the things I've missed.
Oh, listen, you can get them back up here. We'd love to have you get back up here, in fact. But the retreat was well done. We had a good time with it. And so anyhow, why did I bring that up? Because Shantae James came and she has now set up a retreat for us at Penn State Harrisburg. It's going to take place on Saturday, November the 4th. And we're really looking forward to this being a really, big thing. So I'll tell you more about that. But anyhow, welcome back, Neil.
Yeah.
Hey, man, tell us about what's going on with you and your writings. The piece that you submitted, by the way, to the magazine that was put in for this month is called, was it Second Chance? Let me see.
Third time a charm.
Third time a charm. That's what it is. Third time a charm. A romance.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's a new adult short story. It's about a young man he's in college and his first year in college, and he's sort of an introvert a little bit, a little shy. And he happens to see this girl in class that he becomes attracted to, and he's going through some changes as to if he should approach her or if he shouldn't approach her, or so he goes through some issues before he finally gets the nerve to step up and approach her. And
all right.
And he does. He steps up and he approaches her, and he surprises himself as what comes out of his mouth and how comfortable he feels, and so they have it's the beginning of a relationship that eventually grows, and they have a long relationship. They happen to have miscarriages. The young lady had in the relationship that she had 2 miscarriages. And so the third one was a daughter, and that's why they say the third time the charm, because they didn't give up on it.
Years ago we had an author come on our Life Esteem program, and I think she had experienced something like 11 or 12 miscarriages, and she would not give up, and everyone kept telling her it's not going to happen for you. And she eventually had 2 sons and everything, but she's very spiritual, in the church and all that. But she wrote a book about her experience, and it was pretty powerful. And so, yeah, that's real stuff. There are a lot of people out there who are going through that whole miscarriage thing, and they think it's never going to happen for them, but then boom, well, boom, they have a baby. Yeah. So anyhow, so that's good stuff, man. Good stuff. Yeah. So what's the topic for tonight? What do we want to talk about tonight, y'all? As far as writing, we have an audience out there, and some people are, still. By the way, Shantae James introduced us to the concept of the cozy. Ro, do you know what the cozy is? A writing.
Yeah, a cozy mystery.
Yes. Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's a mystery that usually takes place in some small little town, where you have a group of individuals who pretty much know each other. I had a friend who was writing a cozy mystery. She made up this little imaginary town, and it all took place in a bakery.
And part of the thing that I gathered from what she was saying is that also the incident happens in like the first chapter, maybe the second chapter.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. It's that kind of thing. But yeah, the small town. Okay. And it was interesting because I had never heard of it. And then everybody else in the room was like, cozy. And then she started breaking it down. I said, I bet you Ro knows what a cozy is.
Cozy mysteries are a very popular trope.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I'm gathering. How about you, Neil? Had you heard of a cozy before?
No. This is my first time hearing of it.
Yeah. She threw it out there like, we should all know it. I'm like, I ain't never heard that before, but it's supposed to be. Yeah. You know what she said, if you think of Murder, She Wrote, that's kind of the feel of what a cozy is. Yeah, the murder happens in the beginning, and then you wonder who done it kind of thing,
I have a writer friend who wrote one. It takes place in a little southern town, like a tiny little sort of like Hickville. And there's an elderly lady who owns a bakery, and she comes in like, I don't know, like within the first less than 10 pages, she comes in and finds a body in her bakery, and it kind of rolls there from there. But pretty much it's a very small town, limited amount of characters. The setting is how they get the word cozy is that you've created this sort of world that's small townish. Yeah.
Yeah, good stuff.
It's a very popular trope.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, if you watch an episode of maybe Columbo or Murder, She Wrote, you'll get that same cozy kind of feel, especially Murder, She Wrote.
Yeah, definitely. That's what she always referenced. She said, yeah. You want to meet Shantae James, by the way. She's very sharp, very personable. She's a lawyer, but she also has a PhD. And she said, I've been in school since kindergarten. So, and she ain't joking, But anyhow, she's real sharp, sister. And okay, yeah, oh wow, my brother pulled that up. That's a picture we just took yesterday. We actually taped her on our show. She's in the middle, of course, and she was a great guest. We had a lot of fun with her. But she's making some things happen there at Penn State. But she's a pure writer. She writes all the time, and she's very disciplined. And she's both an academic writer as well as a creative writer. And so I said to her, I said, "Oh, you're gonna have to meet Ro Brady. I said, we're gonna have to hook you up somehow, And Neil, because Neil's a great author in terms of the stories you guys tell, very well put together. So anyhow, what's again, I'm throwing it out there before we get into some of the videos and maybe even do some reading tonight. Ro, did you have anything you want to read?
Yeah, I do. I've written a couple new things.
Okay, excellent. How about you, Neil? Anything you want to share?
No, not really.
All right. Okay. It's all good. Okay. I will say very quickly, since we did, Neil and I first started talking about the AXO. Ro, I don't know if you noticed, but we just had AXO, the national competition last week. And so we came back on Sunday. We went out on Tuesday and came back on Sunday. So it was a long time. But the young people had a ball and they really started out. They did a great job. We only had the one bronze medal in biology. And the young lady who won that was out of Milton Hershey School. And I have to give hats off to Dr. Sterling Thompson, who stepped in at the last minute to just ask her some very poignant questions about her research and her project. And he's a scientist. And so, and she turned it around within a couple days. She just took everything he asked her and just, addressed it. And, and I just sat there and listened to both of them. And for this young lady to be, in 11th grade, I think she is, she was sharp. I mean, Dr. Thompson's no joke. He retired from Penn State at Harrisburg. He's been in some major commissions as far as a scientist is concerned. And so he said, I'm not trying to, be too deep. I mean, I understand she's 11th grader. He said, but, well, it paid off because, when you go at that level, these kids are they're coming for you, And I saw her project. I said, this is really good. Even though I didn't understand everything about fungi and all that kind of stuff, I was glad to see her up on that stage, really good. But the beauty of the whole thing is that we took 14 young people. That's the most we've ever taken. And they were so well prepared. They were so focused and they still had a lot of fun too. But they went in and I was able to hear at least 3 or 4 of the presentations. And they were smoking. I thought, man, okay. But then you got to know that there's some other kids out there who you don't see because they only have maybe 5 or 6 at a time. And then you go out the room, then other ones come in. And those other kids must have been really, really good. So here's what it is. So hats off to all of the young folks who, represented AXO. We had poetry, both written and spoken, performance. We had biology. We had entrepreneurship. We had 2 pianists. One guy played the piano. The other young lady played the piano. The other guy, what did he play? I think he was a saxophone player or something like that. But he's also a great piano player. And then some other, categories. Everything was represented. And photography with Olivia Stokes. Her sister last year won the gold medal at the Nationals for medicine, Madison Stokes. And so anyhow, it just went on and on and on. So good stuff.
Can you hear that?
Huh?
I said, can you hear the EMTs, the ambulance?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It's
no.
out here.
It really? Okay. No. Can you hear him now?
No, I can't hear it.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
No, not at all. Not at all. All right, so let's talk technique here for a minute, and then we'll go into some readings and then also some videos. Just real quick, just for writing tip for anybody that might be out there, thinking about writing. I mentioned the phrase cozy, and thank you, Ro, for breaking that down. And it's a technique that a lot of people apparently, especially in Hollywood, have adopted because you watch these shows, and at the beginning you see the murder. You're not exactly sure who did it and all that kind of stuff, and then it plays itself out. Well, that's a writing technique that, now that I have a term to use, I understand better, what it is. So what else? What else comes to mind? Either one of you?
I did a workshop for the RSJ conference. When was that? Like 2 weeks ago on writing a DPOV.
Now tell us about that.
DPOV is basically when you're looking at the point of view of one character. You know how you write a dialogue tag where your character is having an internal thought, but you're telling the reader what the internal thought is instead of a bit more of show not tell.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I'd have to be able to give you an example, but basically it's as almost you get inside your character's head and you get rid of those dialogue tags.
Think of Taxi for a minute. Remember the movie Taxi?
Yeah.
Does that qualify?
Yeah, I was trying to remember it. Yeah, you're talking about the one with Jodie Foster?
No, was Jodie Foster? No, I don't think she was in it. Maybe she was.
Yeah,
but the guy was your boy. What's his name? De Niro.
Yeah, she was a Taxi.
Crazy. She was Taxi. Okay.
Yeah, you're right. Because he could all the crazy thoughts he was having, the audience do what they were.
That's right.
Much like that, except you're writing it, and you're getting rid of it instead of saying, I was thinking about, you're just telling, like, I should just go ahead and jump. End it all. Why not now?
Yeah.
Instead of saying, she thought about jumping. Thought about doing it now. So DPOV is the first one. I should just go
You're
ahead.
saying DPOV?
Point of view.
Okay, gotcha. Okay. Nice, interesting. I like that. And that's, for those of us who are writing, I mean, it's important to know the terminology and the acronyms and all that kind of good stuff, So, all right, cool. Yeah. What else? POV. I thought you said DPOV.
No, point of view.
Yeah, point this POV. Point of view.
Yeah, POV is very, very, very important in the literary field. To do that, because I know it's like Ro was saying, I want you to show more showing than telling. That type of thing. So and it's also, and just that POV, it gets very technical. It's like you say something, how does it's hard to explain, but it's very deep, very technical.
I read an example. Here's an example of DPOV. It's from my Kindle Vella, and I think I might have read this before, but this is one of the characters, Jayla Joe, and this is what she is seeing out the window.
Okay.
I lay there still as all could be in the dark, waiting for the yelling and the screaming. There wasn't any. I was always frightened of silence. Silence only meant one thing to me. Someone was dead. Aunt Lucille kept telling Mama she needed to pack our things and hightail it away from Eclampsia County before Papa went and killed us both. After all, my brother Ed had left after Daddy got after him something bad. I wish he would have taken me with him, but he said I was too young and needed to stay and take care of Mama. So it sets the scene for what she's seeing, but then when we start to really get into DPOV, this is what she is seeing and what she's experiencing. Wait a minute, let me get down.
Okay.
I knew she knew she's talking about her mother. I knew she knew I was watching. She stopped and looked toward the house. I didn't recognize this woman as my mama. She had been gripped with anger mixed with the fear of a man she didn't know how to escape. This was her way out for the both of us. What would she tell Aunt Lucille? What if they found out she killed Papa? What would I do without Mama? What if someone came and took her away? I closed my eyes and took a deep breath. Mama stayed out in the field until the sun came up. I stood there by the window, unable to go to her. My heart wanted to go, but my head continued to tell me not to go. I knew whatever was broken in Mama would never be fixed. She sat on the ground with her arms wrapped around her legs, rocking and talking to herself. I knew if I just stayed by the window and kept a watch on her, Aunt Lucille would come. She always came to help Mama with the wash. They would pull the tubs from the shed, and I would go down to Murder Creek and get the water to fill the tubs. After Aunt Lucille made a fire to slowly heat the cold creek water, then she would pour in the strong lye soap. So the part of POV is when she's talking about what she's seeing looking out the window, instead of saying, I looked out the window, she just tells you immediately what she's seeing out the window.
Yeah, powerful. That's good stuff. Thanks for sharing that. So point of view writing, okay. Letting the characters speak.
Without
directing the
dialogue
character.
tags in there.
Yeah, that, okay.
And then you can do it in third person too, where like instead of saying I'm saying she. It's just the use of those pronouns.
Yeah, okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. Well, listen, having said that, let's do a video first, and then we're going to come back and let's, each one of us find a little something to read if we want to. You don't have to, but if you have something you'd like to share, whether it be your piece or someone else's piece, or just a thought that you have about whatever, we'll do that tonight. And we may be joined by some other folks. For people just tuning in, if you've never seen this broadcast before, it is the Writer's Wordshop. We come on from 7 p.m. until 9 p.m. every Friday evening. I want to thank Wendy Noche Onye for last week taking over and keeping the fires burning, and she did an excellent job. I was down where we were up in Boston, Massachusetts, and had some fun with that. There's a little logo that Brother Chris put together that we use for this show, and it's some familiar faces on there. I think I see, let me see, just about everybody. That's a great logo. I like that. Thank you. And so anyhow, oh, by the way, Ro, I was looking for the article you submitted. We'll make sure it's in for next month, because we had to cut down, like I said, on pages. We're trying to keep it 24.
I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. So that, and I'm sure that, and we don't want to, but I also want to say this, because I noticed in Neil's piece, there was a post put up of the magazine, and it has some jumbling on like the one part of your article, Neil. And so that was, to be corrected, and it is put out there corrected. But I was trying to pull that other piece down, and so I got to let the person who put it up. Her name is Sarita Henderson. I know she's out of town right now, but she did fix all that, and so it's up. So I want to make sure that I will send you the corrected piece and everything. And if I can figure out how to get the other piece down, I will, because I want to make sure that doesn't confuse anybody. For whatever reason, just the font got all jumbled up on a couple pieces there, and it just didn't come out right. But the real piece, I mean, when you see the article, the magazine, she did a great job. It looks really, really good. I don't know what that technical flaw was, but we'll figure that out for the next time. Make sure that doesn't get up there before we send it out.
And I'm going to have another poem that will be published here in Washington. A friend of mine who is an Amazon influencer has a friend who has a magazine. It's called Journey. And she was telling her about me, and I reached out to her and sent her a poem. So it'll be published sometime in September.
Fantastic. Good. Well, like I said, we'll be publishing your piece that you sent to us as well. And I am going to do some hard copies of the magazine itself. It's an online magazine, but for people like yourselves who submit and some other folks that we want to see, make sure that they have it in their hands, or they're interested in helping the workshop, we would have some hard copies. So we will be getting some hard copies printed up of the magazine. And when we do, I'll send you a copy, especially if you're in it like Neil. I'll make sure that you get a copy, kind of thing, whatever. So, okay, good. And Ro, let us know about yours so we can get, check it out and all that good stuff as well. Yeah. Hey, by the way, I think I mentioned that in October, we're going to be doing a thing with Police Athletic League. And if you are in striking distance, I'd love to get you guys up here to, participate in that. We want this thing to be big. Again, the forum itself holds about, I think they said 1,800 seats. And so we're hoping to fill up the forum. We really are. And we're going to have 2 levels, high school and then middle school. They don't call it junior high anymore, right? It's middle school, right? So, the middle school, they have three, I hate to say winners, but three people that will receive, cash prizes. And then high school, three people that will receive cash prizes. But everyone will receive something for participating. And we're trying to make this countywide. Any school district or school building in Dauphin County, junior high, middle school to high school can participate. And it's multi everything. And the theme is something we want it to be something that's universal and different than all the other stuff you see out there. So I know I'm gonna mess it up, but the theme is the good that I see in my community. The good that I see in my community. That's the overarching theme. And they can write, over, under, and around that theme about the positive though. We want these young people to think positively and write something that's going to be uplifting. Okay. The good that I see in my community, that's the overarching thing. Okay, having said that, can we, Brother Chris, I don't know if you were able to pull up. We had a major storm come through here. And so, okay, here we go. Good. First poem, first presentation tonight.
Jumping off this balcony, please flatter me, saying I can fly. Cause deep down inside, I'm ready to die. Now I'm looking at destruction in the face as these waterfalls down my eyes. Cause I feel like my life is worthless and hopeless, down to 0%. Being this mortal in this world of combat, ready to be finished. God, please replenish my soul because I really don't want to go. I want to have hope and believe and see it beyond as my eyes can see. So I can live my dreams. Instead of waking up in the middle of the night from a nightmare. Just so I can wash my face off to look myself in the mirror knowing I'm the one to blame. I feel like I'm cursed while I'm walking around on Mother Earth in the skin of mine. But yet again, who God bless, no man can curse. But yet again, I question myself, I question my worth. I'm getting tired and weary walking around with sorrow in disguise. Because I'm feeling sorry for myself because I can't get a piece of the pie. See, that's why my mind is so jacked up. I'm worrying about another man's pie and I damn near forgot mine been baking all this time. So let me relax and get back to the basics and erase these self-hated images and negative termination thoughts. And pour all this love from my heart for myself because we need self-love to conquer all. Mind over matter is all that it takes. And a step closer you will be great. Knowing that's when you realize failure isn't an option when you are blessed by God's grace. Bless.
All right. Oh, wow. Nice piece there, bro. I like that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What is that? Is that a shawl that you have around you?
Oh, I know. I'm sitting up underneath the where the window is. It's always cold in here, but the air on. But then if you turn it down, it's hot.
Yeah. But that looks sharp though. I like that. Yeah.
Oh, it's a what do you call it? It's a sari made into a throw, like an Indian sari.
Very nice. Very, very nice. Great. Okay. Well, who wants to share a piece tonight first? I mean, Ro, I know you said you want to share a piece. Oh, Neil, you were kind of not so sure. Okay. But when you come across, if you change your mind, my brother, we'd like to have it. Are you ready to do something now, Ro?
Sure.
Okay.
And it was funny because I was sitting at Busboys and Poets when I wrote this, and I was just, you know me, I'm an old eavesdropper. I sit and listen to people's conversations, and sometimes they just inspire me. So this one's called Just an Old Chick Waiting on a New Revolution.
I like that title.
Just an old chick laying in the cut, shaking my head, ego tripping. This ageism, it's a real thing. I'm feeling it right here in the gut. Martin had a dream. He talked about mountaintops and freedom ringing, brown babies on the wall, just want to get over to the other side. Some of them are not fighting to get to the top. They just okay with their 40 acres and a mule that don't work. Us old heads are sitting on the edge of our seats, waiting for the new Martins, Malcolms, and John Lewis powerhouse packers to come our way. There's a new generation of young folks who see it their own way. Let's not see through the glass darkly and miss our understanding of what persistence for the disruption of the old movement brought to us. Passing by, not staying for the long haul, ears pressed to the wall, hoping somebody got the call, telling us that we are still in our prime. The time has not passed us by like broken clock pieces that can't be rewound. New age, new wave, but there's still nothing new under the old sun that beats the thoughts of freedom from oppression into the heads of overprivileged, sassy mouth babes. I'm an old chick waiting on a new revolution, just hoping to still be around when you proudly take your throne and loudly proclaim that you are now beating the drum of freedom and watching it rain. I'm just an old chick waiting for a new revolution.
Go ahead. I like the title.
Overly privileged. Yeah. That's a good one.
This
That's a good one.
conversation that these two young people
Yeah.
were sitting outside and they were having, and I was like, wow, my day, that conversation wouldn't have never exist. Yeah. So I was just eavesdropping on their conversation and I was like sitting there.
Now, I was a little distracted, but I got to ask you, the title, was that something that was actually mouthed by the persons that you were observing?
No, because
That's just what you, okay.
it was like, like thinking about the generational, I don't know, gap there. Like the two people, I was just sitting there, their table was next to mine, and they were having this conversation about, something that had happened. I guess one of them still lives at home, and this issue that they were having, and they're both seem like they're trying to get out on their own. But it was just the conversation that they were having about, something that was said to them probably by a parent, and they didn't agree with it, and I would personally found it to be quite disrespectful of even though the parent wasn't there, it was a conversation that they were engaged in with each other. And I'm thinking, man, I would have never even if my father wasn't even present, my lips just wouldn't formulate to speak about them in that format, So that's why I was saying, it's just, I'm just an old chick waiting for a new revolution when they finally realize what their parents are saying. So valuable, and I'm just like, interesting.
That's good stuff. But that is kind of another technique when you think about it, the observer. I mentioned before that Kamika Williams Witherspoon was an outstanding poet herself out of Philadelphia. She did a workshop, and she was talking about the audience and the performer. And she said in life, when you think about it, there are people constantly performing. And she said she was at a red light and she saw these people talking and just their hand movements and the head. And she said she really couldn't understand or hear the entire conversation, but she was so engrossed with these two people, the way they were communicating and this and that. And so when we observe, that can be, fodder for, ammunition for, a piece to grow up out of us. And that's what you did. You created a good piece.
There's a t-shirt that says something to the gist of, watch what you say around me. I'm a writer. What you say may be in my next book or something to like that. It's like, oh gosh, that's so me. Yeah, because I've sat and I've listened to so many people have conversations. I think the best one yet this was back in Harrisburg, and I was in the Giant, and I was in the line behind these two women, and the one woman all of a sudden turned to the other one and said, "Does he know?" And she said, "I don't think so, not yet. But I really got to be careful because he's getting suspicious." It was like, and I'm sitting, I'm quiet, like I'm leaning, like I keep moving a little bit. It was like the best conversation ever. I was like, oh my gosh, I wonder, is she having an affair? He having an affair? What's happening here?
Yeah, who's
The best. It was the best. And I just kept moving, and they probably were like, why is this woman? And they just continued to talk. I loved it.
Writer on board, be careful. But you know, it's interesting. The movie Precious, and the book Precious, and then it became a movie. The writer said that really all she did was sit on a bench and she observed people, and she wrote those characters based on a composite, if you will, of a lot of different people she saw, and that's how she came with the characters for Precious. And folks thought she was really writing about real people, you know, because it seemed to be so true to life. She said, no, it's just a lot of people that she saw in the part she pulled from them. Yeah.
Because I have one now, and it's funny because I shared it with a person that sort of like was my muse for writing it. Going to church, there was a gentleman who would bring his daughter to church. There's a little area in our church where there's no seats. You know, there's seats there, but it's a little floor space. And when the praise team would sing, she would stand on his feet and they would dance together to the music. You know, she would raise her hand, she would praise God. But I never saw the mom. It was always the two of them. And then she would just put her head on his shoulder. It was so endearing to watch these two. And it's called Sunday Dad. And it's a short story, you know, but it was just watching them. Now, there's a lot of other things that happen in that story that have nothing to do with them. The motivation for the story was watching the two of them, you know, and how they related to each other. So there is one scene in there where it's from a first person where she's saying, I stood on his feet and he twirled me. Praises of God surrounded us both.
Nice. Great image. Yeah, that's good stuff. Good stuff. All right. So thank you. Thanks for sharing and all that. And again, anyone that's, you know, looking and watching, you know, don't be afraid to be an observer. A lot of great writing comes up out of that, you know, it really does. Real life stuff. But then you use your creative juices to.
Here's the thing, you often wonder, like, okay, it's only bits and pieces of people's real lives. Somebody buys your book and like, oh man, that was me.
You would think that could happen, but you know, you got to get that disclaimer. No, the characters are all fictional.
Exactly, but I think that.
Yeah, you know, because you know what? What's that phrase? There's nothing new under the sun. I mean, you'd be surprised. This stuff has been played out over and over and over again. So there may be the impetus for it or the spark or whatever, but the truth of the matter is there's nothing new under the sun.
My mother used to say, there's nothing new under the old sun.
Okay, the old son, huh? Got a whole new one rolling.
Yeah, she was speaking of it in sort of a double meaning, you know, like there's, you know, God as old as ages.
Yeah.
You know? So there's nothing new to him.
That's right. That's right.
That's how she always is nothing new to the old God is basically.
The old God, the old son. I like that. Well, listen, I'm gonna pull a few things out of a book here. This is an interesting piece called Freedom in My Heart. It's a National Geographic piece, and says Voices from the United States National Slavery Museum. And this is the cover of the book itself. Okay. And so this has some very powerful, passages in there from various people like Martin Luther King, Barack Obama, goes on down the line.
Like James Baldwin.
Say it again.
But he looked like James Baldwin.
Oh, this guy here on the front.
He looks like a character of James Baldwin almost.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, okay. Never thought about that, but probably right. And here's a famous picture, and this is from part of the book. I know we've seen this before. This picture. Let me see if that gets it. Okay, there you go. Yeah, you know. Let's say, brother. So it has a lot of different panels here, and the panels are by various writers. This is Frederick Douglass. It says abolitionists, and it's just a thought here. And it says, This, for the purpose of this celebration, is the 4th of July. It is the birthday of your national independence and of your political freedom. I am not included within the pale of glorious anniversary. Your high independence only revels the immeasurable distance between us. The blessing in which you this day rejoice are not enjoyed in common. The rich inheritance of justice, liberty, prosperity, and independence bequeathed by your fathers is shared by you, not by me. The sunlight that brought light and healing to you has brought stripes and death to me. And that was his take, Frederick Douglass, on the 4th of July celebrations. You know, what we got to celebrate about, okay? So anyhow, interesting piece, and this whole speech, of course, was really powerful. This is American Anti-Slavery Society Constitution. And I don't know, has anyone ever heard of the Anti-Slavery Society? Have you ever been a part of that? Yeah. So for years, I was a member of that, quite frankly. And then I remember they moved it into England for some reason, like the headquarters or whatever. But I just always just stayed a member. They were sending out newsletters and different things. And I kind of got away from it. I used to do a lot with what is it called? The they won the Nobel Prize for all that political work and everything. Amnesty International. So we had a chapter of Amnesty International here in Harrisburg that was associated with the Writers' Wordshop. And the one thing I never forget, we had planned a trip. It was a cruise, and they contacted me and asked me if they could come into Harrisburg, and they wanted to do a big event here down at the Crown Plaza Hotel, which they did. But the reason why they contacted me is they wanted me to organize through the Writers' Workshop some poets that would read that night for this big event of the organization. And guess what? I was on a darn cruise. I got poets to come and do the thing, but I want to be it in the worst way. Amnesty International, I always revered the work that they do. Anyhow, this is the American Anti-Slavery Society Constitution. It says, Article 3, this society shall aim to elevate the character and condition of the people of color by encouraging their intellectual, moral, and religious improvement, and by removing public prejudice that thus they may share in equality with the rights of civil and religious privilege, but will never countenance the oppressed in vindicating their rights, physical force, or by physical force. So let me say it again, will never countenance the oppressed by vindicating their rights by physical force. So they want to make sure that we can be equal, but they didn't want us to get retribution. They didn't want us to retaliate by physical force. I get it, I'm a pacifist basically at heart, but it is interesting that they would include that in the information, especially based on the lynchings that were taking place and everything else was happening to our people. That's probably a good thing they did put that in there. Okay, think about that for a minute. Yeah. That's why we write, I think. We write so that we don't explode, We write so that we have a civil understanding of what God would have us do, so that we don't become just reactionary, revengeful, and all that kind of good stuff. And we have to tell the story. But because we're not telling our story the way we need to tell our story, that's another piece that maybe we have to look at. I love books like this because they do force us to remember our history. And right now, there's a concerted effort, as you know, to eliminate these kind of books. They don't want these things around. They certainly don't want them in the schools, and leave it to Florida and Texas and all these other states. They're trying to throw us all up out of the literary field. If we say anything about Black, about freedom, about whatever, we got to be careful. However, it's not just them. We always talk about them as if we're not included in that. Don't forget that just years back, within, I think, 10 years, Howard University had a president that was trying to force all faculty members to eliminate any notion of including Black history references in their curriculums. Can you imagine that? And one of the persons who was teaching math at Howard University was fired because she talked about great African-American and African mathematicians. And she started, and that was supposed to be a no-no at Howard University. Can't make this stuff up. But anyhow, it is what it is. So, Brother Neil, did you change up yet, man? Did you?
Yeah, I'll read a page.
Good.
It's a scene. I think this scene is taken from my debut novel, and it happens to be a scene between mother and son. Neil Young crooned as Derek lay on Mr.'s bed. The emotions of a lost love had saturated his thoughts when the footsteps of his mother on the basement stairs announced the needed moment. He leaned up and lowered the music. His mother sat beside him on the twin bed. Why haven't you told me about her? We only dated a few weeks. It was too early. Obviously not. You're in love with her. What happened? I think I embarrassed her in class. How? After he replayed the scene, she said, just because you know something is right doesn't mean you have to say it. True wisdom knows what to say, when and when not. What else happened after she left the class? I went looking for her and waited a few hours outside her apartment, but she didn't answer the door for my calls. She slapped her palms on her knees. What? Tell me you didn't do that. Did you, Derek? I only wanted to apologize in person. You scared the poor girl to death. She thinks you're a stalker. A stalker? She knows I'm not a stalker. Oh? Only after a few weeks she knows you're not a stalker? I know your charm. Your ways are just like your father's. You were a real Prince Charming in her eyes. And all of a sudden you turn into an ogre. That's scary, Derek. She had to take a step back so she could take a second look. She went into protective mode. I would have done the same thing. If you had been patient, she would have gotten over the initial shock and called you. But you kept chasing after her, so she kept running. The more you chased, the more she was frightened. You pushed her further away. There are a lot of dangerous men out there. Women have to be careful. She might have had a bad experience before she met you. But I'm not dangerous. And how is she supposed to know that after only a few weeks? I'll stop there.
All right, man. I like it. So break it down for us a little bit. What you're thinking? Just
Well, Derek is the young man that's going to grow up to be the venture capitalist who begins to create Black Wall Street nationwide. But this is his stage of early. He's young, was in college, and this is before he ran into his wealth. Because how he gained his wealth is that at the age of 10, well, actually at the age of 12, he gave his mother $100, but he's money that he had saved from cutting grass and shoveling snow and all that. And he had her invested in the stock market. And he did some stock that was unexpected, like picture Amazon before it became Amazon big. It was very cheap stock. And he put his money, all his money in that type of, he stopped spending his money on his clothes, and he just went to the store. He just gave all his money that he had, he put it in the stock market. He would get some penny stock and he just struck it. And he took that money that he earned from the stock market and he invested it in an independent film. Because he met this Black guy from New York who had majored in film. And so he invested in the film, and they created this movie called Adam and Eve.
Hmm. Okay.
It was a very controversial movie, and that's where they made their money off of that. That's how he became a multi-millionaire off of this independent film.
Hmm. It's amazing, you know, how the mind works and the stories that can come up out of it. And a lot of times, you know, there's some truth there, but then other times it's twists, you know, that's just strictly the writer's mind clicking in, you know. Good stuff, man, really good stuff. Both of you are great storytellers, first off. And the thing I like about it is when you have that touch of realism, you know, this is real, this could really happen. This may have happened in some way, shape, or form. And then also you realize, no, this is fiction. This is all made up. It's not, you know, because some people get so into the characters, you start talking as if you're really talking about a family member or a friend or some person that you don't like. It's like, that person doesn't really exist. You do know that, right? I know Terry Martinez, she experienced that. She went somewhere down like South Carolina or whatever. And she said, this group of women there were really bought into her first novel, and they were really into this thing, man. But they kind of got mad at her because they said, well, why would you? And they started talking all this stuff. And she said, y'all do know this, these people are real, right? And it's like they all just busted out laughing because they got invested, man. That was, you know, that's their character. You know,
That's
kind of thing.
kind of such good character development. Like the group I'm in with Queenie, we were reading Mary Monroe. We read a series of Mary Monroe's, and we got to the third one, and we were all like, I'm so mad at Hubert. What's wrong with him? I can't believe he didn't get, I mean, like, we were having this dialogue as though the person was really, and we're like, yeah, I just wish, I wish I could really talk to Hubert and tell him he's gonna get caught. I mean, you should have heard us. It was so that these characters were like in the same room, and we were trying to warn them, and then we were wondering like, oh man, I wonder if she's gonna. So sign of, and I love reading books like that where, you know, especially if I'm having a dialogue with somebody else who's reading the same book, and you literally get so involved in those characters' lives that you're talking about them as though they really exist.
You know, listen, and I'm also, you know, guys know I'm a movie buff, and I do know that every single movie there's a script that's written. So it's like, you know, someone either writes a novel or they write a script, whatever. And I'll never forget, I remember, I can't look at Tank, the rapper. I don't know if you know who I'm talking. He's a singer more, I guess, than a rapper, but he goes by Tank, right? And so he played his character in a religious movie, and I can't even call the name of it now, where he was really kind of hard on this young lady. He takes her out of the church. He promised her that she's going to be this great gospel singer, and then she falls in love with him, but then he eventually just abuses her and treats her like dirt, especially when he got her alone, you know, and no one knew that he was beating on her. And she was afraid to go back and tell mom and dad because I think her dad was a pastor, and he kept telling her don't go out on the road with this guy. But, you know, she did. And so she was afraid to say I failed, you know. And then finally, the guy who really loved her, who was the piano player back at the old church, he kind of, you know, came out on the road himself once, and they ran into each other. And then he was like, hey, you could tell something was not right. And he stepped to this guy and everything. But every time I see Tank, I'm like, man, I can't stand that dude. All over that one character. And I'm like, wait a minute. He was acting. That brother is that. That thing was so long ago. I'm still holding a grudge against this dude. I felt that way against, what's his name? My man, Danny Glover, who played Mr.
Oh,
in The Color Purple. I'm like, man, what's wrong with you? But he did kind of redeem himself at the end. All right, you know. But interesting stuff. Hey, real quick, don't forget that there are a couple things coming up tomorrow at Harrisburg Area Community College, 1 Hack Drive here in Harrisburg. They're having a community fair India Day. If you've never been to it, it is a spectacular. The Indian community comes out. It's called the Asian Indian Americans of Central Pennsylvania. Pat and I have gone up pretty much every year. it's unbelievable the way they take over that campus. And hey, Lizelle, welcome. How you doing? and they take over the campus and they bring in Indians from every sector of the Indian community. So they have this huge parade, and they also put on performances. So you see people that look like they are Africans, quite frankly, and then you see people, I mean, the whole spectrum. And the vendors, I mean, they have unbelievable vendors, and it says here ethnic Indian cuisine, Indian traditional sweets, kids activities, Indian dancers, cultural parade, which you definitely want to see, ethnic apparel and jewelry, and much, much more. And I mean, and much, much more. It is really a spectacular. So if you've never been to India Day, go check it out. It is something that is one of the best kept secrets. It's been going on for years, but a lot of people don't even know it exists. Also, the church that we're part of, the Redeemed, Redeemed Church of God, is going to have a major piece with Dr. Tundi and their organization, which is the Living Springs Redeemed Christian Church of God. So anyhow, they have that massive building, as you know, over there on 3600 Barton Way, and they're having a big picnic tomorrow for families and friends, whatever. If you've never been to the Redeemed Christian Church of God, Living Springs with the Tundis, you definitely want to check them out. They come from just about every sector of Africa, and they do a parade of African flags every Mother's Day, I think it is, and they just have so many different activities and things that go on over there. It's a spectacular, it really is. They do great work, and that's sometime tomorrow. I think Pat said it starts around 1 o'clock. We're gonna check it out. We're gonna go over, stop through, and see it. But there are a lot of great things going on. Of course, we're gonna have the what is that coming up? I guess it's the Cultural Heritage Festival or something like that, Brother Chris. Oh, the reunion picnic. There you go. So that's at Barton Way. That's tomorrow. 12 noon it starts. Okay. Worship, games, food, and lots of fun. And they're asking all people who are part of, the church, the community, whatever, to come out. If you're just interested in just knowing more, there's a community fair, the Indian Day. Thank you, Chris. That brother is on it. I gotta give him credit. Also, isn't there the cultural festival coming up? Dauphin County Cultural Fest or something like that, Chris? I think that's coming up soon as well. That's always a huge event here in this area too. And they're going to have, I think, Tone Loc and a whole bunch of other performers very soon. There's two. One is the Dauphin County Cultural Fest, and then there's another thing that's coming up as well. Lizelle, welcome. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you all?
Okay.
Hi, Lizelle. Good.
Hi.
Hi, Lizelle.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, you see Ro? We haven't had Ro on for a while.
Yeah.
Dr. Dan is here also.
And,
Hello there, how you doing?
I never see Dan. Man, he always sneaks in on me. Dan could knock me upside the head, and I wouldn't even know he was there, man. I can't. How did you see him, Neil?
Huh?
Do you see his name up?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I never do. That's amazing. Okay, I got to figure out why that is.
Well, I just got there.
Okay, but still, Neil saw you. I don't see you. Yeah, but I'm glad you're here, though, man. Yeah. Hey, by the way, congratulations, Lizelle. I was saying earlier in the broadcast that it looked like you have two major awards. I saw you were featured in some publication and being honored, and there's all these pictures of different. Oh, there you go. This is the one with the white.
Yeah, I didn't see that one.
Yeah, that's a really nice picture. Now tell us about that, Lizelle. What was going on?
ANS Association, it's an association that goes out and help people. So they help them, people on the streets, like back to school, do backpack drives, do community help, feed the poor. Well, people on the streets give out food stuff to the community and stuff. So I only help them we also visit shelters, women's shelters.
Okay.
So I went with them, a few times, but I haven't been there in a while, but because, it's like, oh my gosh, it's really nice.
Yeah.
So I told, it's run by Apostle Cleo Natasha. She's an apostle. And ANS Association is her and her daughters and a few other members. but they have a big group, a big how to put it, like a lot of people, a lot of from
Volunteers.
different countries,
Okay.
different, establishments. So everybody chip in and give money to help wherever is needed. They go to the shelters for Mother's Day, for Christmas, for Thanksgiving, and give back to the women of the shelter. I went with them at one point in time. It's really sad to see these women with their children there, and they have to stay there because the male person, they don't know that they are there. So it's a kind of secluded area.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Right. So it's just like outreach. They do a lot of outreach stuff. And she also do ministry to different parts of New York and also Uganda. She goes and she's really Haitian. She's
Okay.
from Haiti. So she goes back to her country. She give food stuff. She send food. She do a lot of charity work. So
Wonderful.
now and again, when I can help, but I didn't help for a good while, so
Yeah.
I want to start back with it,
That's
but I've
great.
been helping and being part of it.
Okay.
And that, and also with my art and poetry. So everything was just like a combination of everything in one, to
Very
be
good.
nice.
Congratulations. Yeah,
Thanks.
thank you for the work you're doing. That's yeah, listen, so
Yeah.
needed. It's so
Yeah.
needed. Fantastic. Yeah. Well, listen, I hope that you have something to read tonight, as well as Brother Dan. Dan,
Yeah.
Dr. Dan, do you have anything to read tonight?
Yes, I sure do.
Fantastic. Wonderful. Wonderful. Well, let me just say this. I'm going to ask Brother Chris if he'll pull up another video for us. We had one already, and time is ticking. So I do want to get the videos in. And here's one more.
If I'm being honest,
Lower down.
I can't be the one to fix your broken heart. I can be there for you when you feel like your life is falling apart. I can hold you on them nights where you just can't shake your thoughts. I can be the shoulder that you cry on when you need to let it all out, but I can't be the one to fix your broken heart. They say you attract what you are, and they might be right. Cause I've been broken my whole life, trying to heal the hearts of women who just can never see the light, who just can't understand how even on my worst days, I can see the brighter side. I can't be the one to fix your broken heart, cause I'm still waiting for my mom to heal mine. Some might say I'm selfish, but I tried to love a woman who just couldn't open her heart to the possibility that she is someone worth loving. How can I convince you when I'm still trying to convince myself that I am someone worth fighting for, someone worth the truth, even when the lies seem so much sweeter? See, I am damaged, but not fragile. I am sincere, but not naive. I know no matter how good this feels, one day you might leave, and I'm still trying to believe that I'm someone worth fighting for. Strip me of my accolades, take back all my titles. If you knew that I wasn't really put together and this was gonna be an uphill battle, would I still be the one you choose? Am I worth the journey if you knew how much you had to lose? Because I want you to see me as I see you. A vessel of two broken people trying to navigate this thing called life. Slapping band-aids on wounds that go deeper than the flesh. And I know you're trying your best to love me. And I swear the world stops every time you hug me, and I can't be the one to fix your broken heart because I know that this can get ugly. But truth is, I'm just scared that once you're healed, you go off running. Because for too long, I've been the doormat for broken women to dust their shoes off on, never the one they take home. I've been the rebound for too many women who thought my love could make them whole again and again and again. And I'm just so tired of being the one that looks good on paper. I'm tired of being the one that's the right choice. I want you to choose me, even if that meant losing the old you. Because the healed version of me just wants to hold you, to be vulnerable, and to never let go. So even if I can't be the one to fix your broken heart, I can make the space for you to be comfortable, to do it on your own. Thank you.
All right. Nice. Poetry Me Please. I wonder if that was the title of the event itself, because that was not the title of her poem necessarily, but that was interesting. Poetry Me Please. Yeah, thank you, Chris. That was a good piece. Yeah. All right, so let's get to it. I'm going to ask Lazille. You seem to come on first, and then Brother Dr. Dan, if you don't mind, and then Sister Rose, if you have something else you'd like to share, appreciate it. I'm still kind of grooving off of that blanket there. I like that. It looks so sharp on you. All right. So Lazille, if you could do a piece for us.
All right, this is just it's just something that came up in my head today, and it's really part of a story, just a made up. It's like a fiction thing, but it's what happens in real life. So it's just like a makeup scene.
Okay.
I haven't finished it as yet, but it's just part of it I wrote.
Sure.
It's called A Fatal Affair. Even though she knew she was wrong in letting David into her life, she played with fire and she got burned. Janice, a strong Black woman having her own business in the fashion industry, married to John, one of the top investors in a multi-million-dollar company. John had no time to be the good husband and attend to his wife's needs. So she needed to be fed elsewhere. And it was her biggest mistake. Janice got herself entangled in a web of deception. She was tempted and made the biggest mistake of her life by going to bed with David, a tall, well-built, handsome Black man who is also married and works for her at a business. Business and pleasure sure mixed until it turned sour like lime. David wanted more from Janice. He wanted her whole life. He didn't care the consequences. David threatened to expose their affair. He made Janice's life miserable. She had to be at his every beck and call. At times, Janice found herself hiding. Her business was going down as David fed himself to a good meal. Janice was trapped. It's either she tells her husband about the affair or be dead. Janice feared for her life, that her co-workers had to cover for her most times. It was a deadly game being played. That's it.
Okay. You're still working on that piece. That's yeah.
Almost like, remember the story I told you about the supermarket?
Mm-hmm.
It's like the conversation later on, like a month later.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
When she was reading it,
That's true.
yeah, the month later after that scene in the supermarket. That's it. That's it.
You might have missed that. Yeah.
Yeah. It's a conversation I had. Well, I don't have it. I was standing in the back and listening to these two women, and that one woman said, "Does he know?" And the other woman said, "I don't think so yet, but he's coming close." So it was almost, I'm listening to that, thinking of that conversation. That was good.
Good stuff. Yeah. Yeah. You were also, I noticed that there was a publication. I think that's what it was. And they were honoring a lot of different people. And I think you were the only African-American or a person of color that I saw. And I remember thinking, wow, this is powerful. You remember what I'm referring to, Lazille? It was.
That's, I think that is OPA.
Okay.
Our poetry archive.
Yes.
Normally I do submissions for them, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like saying the same, I say, wow, wait, I is the only Black woman.
Yeah.
Everybody else was.
Yeah, I saw that.
I still submit with them. I have a submission coming up next month. I'll be on their online stuff. So I still do submit my stuff to them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, please submit to the Wordshop magazine. You know, we gave you the
yeah, I submitted last month and the month before. So this month I'm gonna submit.
Okay, very good. We're gonna make sure that you get something in there. Yeah. You know, we have some advertisement in there as well, that kind of thing. So I'm going to cut down on some of that and get more poetry. Some of the longer stories, you know, take a little bit more, but we'll get everybody in, you know.
I wanted to ask if I could show, do artwork, like art pieces.
Yeah. There's some, if you look at the magazine, there's some art pieces in there, sure.
Okay.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. That's a good point. Yeah, you can submit art pieces as well. Yeah. And we make sure that you get full credit for them. Okay, yeah. Great. Dr. Dan.
All right, so I got one here. This is
Okay.
called the Hawaiian Experience, and it just covers my time when I had an internship over at the East West Center in Honolulu, and also of the other individuals I met while I was there.
Nice. Mhm.
Back in October 1989, I was offered an opportunity to use my initial advanced degree in a professional community. The work in question was an internship all about minerals and energy. These topics served as a subject matter for journal articles with synergy. My workplace then was the East West Center at Hawaii's main university. Each time I shared the story with others, I met with unneeded adversity. While I learned about the exploration for minerals and energy do tell, the distribution was also present with production and consumption as well. The task for which I was responsible dealt mostly with compiling statistics. This was critical as tables and charts would be part of the published logistics. I did get to do a little writing of sections for key journal investments. My experience was quite rewarding, with my name in place as true testaments. It is worthwhile to note of the fact that during my Hawaiian adventures, I met with a number of fine persons with whom I shared more extensive ventures. These individuals were lots of fun, helping me to adjust to some culture shock, showing me island sights and just good times with my social potential to unlock. The results of my participation in this thoroughly engaging affair yielded 2 published journal articles, both containing my name and works in there. As my positive dwellings continue on matters of work and social hints, I'll forever fondly remember my unique Hawaiian experience.
Mm-hmm. That's all right. That's you always capture real stuff in a very poetic way, and that's real cool.
Yeah.
Real cool. Yeah.
For sure. Well, as always, I have to actually, whenever I write a poem, I actually have to sit down and think about it first. I mean, I just can't just do it with an unfettered flow, so to speak. I mean, I actually have to think it through.
Nothing wrong with that. You know, not at all. Hopefully most of us will think it through. You know, good piece though, Dan. Thank you. Good piece. Yeah.
Certainly.
Okay. So Ro, would you like to kick off another piece?
Sure.
Okay.
I think this is, let's see. I can get my computer to cooperate. This one's called I'm on the Spectrum of Melanin.
Hmm.
I'm on the spectrum of melanin, like black volcanic ash that falls on the litmus of brown paper bag test. I passed, but only in the colder months when the sun stops beating its head on my red bone ancestry and causes my melanin to leak from my skin like unoxygenated blue blood from cold veins.
Hmm.
Sometimes droplets of melanin fall out of hidden places, like stolen kissed droplets of chocolate chips eaten away from the sinful eyes of a hungry child. The pain of what some say is too much blackness haunts us, causing the shunning of gifts, talents, and abilities to fall to the bottom of the pot of pride and high self-esteem in the hearts of our tender young ones. There are those of us who find our greatness in the shades of amber and take offense to the reminders of the antebellum fancy girl high yellow. Glowing shades of melanin raining from its original source, the motherland of our birth. The spectrum of melanin is the cornucopia of our truth, the source of our strength as a people. Wash off all that hinders you. Take your pride amongst the flowers in our garden and let your melanin bloom.
Let your melanin bloom. I like that.
That's the way to do it, all right.
Yes.
Mhm.
Beautiful.
Yeah. What prompted that, Ro?
Some of the books I've read, the one line in there where I talked about the antebellum South and the brown paper bag test. I read a book, and I can't even think of the author. It was called The Yellow Wife, and it was written in the antebellum South period of time. And it was about at that time where they called, if you were of mixed heritage, you were considered a mulatto. And this young girl was, they called them fancy girls, because basically what they were was mistresses of the master, and the fact that, she was extremely light, that term high yellow, but, as African Americans, we come in all colors. So, that was the focus of just talking about the spectrum of melanin.
Nice. What can't we write about? We can write about anything. That's what I hope that the folks out there who are, watching this program and listening in, who hopefully will join the Writers' Workshop and the revolution of words, right? Yeah, you can write about anything. You can breathe life into it. And I like the creativity. I'm going to go back around here again. Go on, Nazil. I know you got something else you want to share. Would you like to kick it? We still have some good time.
Yeah.
You like to kick it? Okay.
That's no ways. Hold on. I'm pulling up the wrong thing. That's not. Hold on. All right. This one is really from a picture that it's a picture that I wrote on. All right. It's called The Haunting of Her Dreams.
Oh, I like the title.
Just like every night, she screamed in despair. Cold sweat, anxiety, and fear wrapped around her like a cold blanket. She sniffled and cried as her eyes paced the room she slept in. It's not me. What have I done? She tossed and turned as the same dream that haunts her find its way into her mind. It's time to find answers. A burning bright light, like the beam of a car, elevated her high in the air. As her feet felt like wings, she glided, her dreams of a lost love that pulled her into a tunnel of questions. The light beckoned her call for the search. She smiled with a perplexed and confused mind, thinking that she would find him. All wide-eyed, she saw something in the distance, a breathtaking moment as she drew closer. She gasped with a haunting expression, a blood-splattered wall, and her lovely dead. That caused her to scream and jumped out of her sleep, trying to catch her breath. She got up, walked across the room, but didn't see the dark figure nestled quietly in the corner. She felt a draft came into the room. She looked across to the window and saw that it was opened. Too late, as the click sound of a gun echoed to her ear.
The click sound of a gun.
But Sal, you have created that one conversation in the grocery store, the two pieces you have read, you have created a whole story in my head. So thank you. That's what happened to the woman that's what happened to the man after his wife found out he was really having an affair.
Yeah. Those are this last one here is really a picture. These are prompts that I get and you have to write about it. So it's just, the show is like an art expression and the person is just, you're seeing this person like a lady just walking and she has a somewhat kind of smile on her face, but you see and she, in the back of her is light. And then while she's walking, there's darkness and there's a red spot. So I pictured it as a tunnel of questions. She's walking through a tunnel and it's beautiful, it's bright, and the blood splattered. She's looking for her love. This is the dream that she's having. So I just kind of put it together in one one story.
Good.
Yeah,
Good.
there's one on IG, and I'd have to find it, but they do a poetry prompt. I participated in it about 2 weeks ago, and they just put a graphic up with a poetry prompt and just have a bunch of people come up with like 40 words was the last one.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I like the prompts. Normally I get them from Queenie. She will normally a long while I haven't got from her.
We haven't heard from Queenie in a while, Ro. How's she doing?
She went back to school this week, so she's probably, she's the ISS teacher this year. She got a new position.
Okay. Oh, good position.
I talked to her the day before she went back to school. She's like, okay, I'm ironing my clothes. I'm packing all my lunches. Queenie goes to bed at 7 o'clock, between 7 and 8 o'clock during school year. So she is probably, if she's not watching on Facebook, she's probably, I won't say she's asleep, but she's probably laying down. She might be on Facebook.
Okay. Well, we wish her the best always. She brings so much to the table, so
My girl.
Yeah. And one night I would like to get on. There's a couple of people I have invited to come on who are authors who are outstanding. I mentioned Shantae James at the top of the show, and she's an outstanding academic and also a very good creative writer and just a fun person to be around. So we're hoping to have her on. She has set up a wonderful retreat for us, along with the faculty and students of Penn State Harrisburg on November the 4th. And we're looking forward to that. We're really going to try to make that a more, something that's annual, by the way, yeah, we're going to talk more about that. And also Jesse Waters has opened up the floodgates for us down at Elizabethtown College. He is the runner of the Bowers, what do you call it, the director of the Bowers Writers House. And he also does the big East Coast Westchester State University East Coast Writers Retreat. So it's good stuff all around that we're involved in, and we hope to keep being involved. Don't forget, we are going to have we're in the process of planning an awards banquet, a dinner that we want to make annual for the Writers Workshop and honor some of the great writers like yourself in our midst. And hopefully, if we're able to pull off the funding that we want to pull off, we hope to have a major writer come to this area as well, so that we can really have a wonderful program. So yes, this is good stuff. My wife and I were just talking to somebody, and September, who was it that, anyhow, Dr. Felicia Brown Hayward, on September I think it's the 18th or 19th, something like that, whatever. And it's a Friday, I think it's the 18th. We're going to go down to, I think it's Lebanon Valley College, and they have the hosting Bernice King, the youngest daughter actually of Dr. Martin Luther King and Greta Scott King. And when Pat actually did a major event down in Hershey years ago, and she was the keynote speaker then. We got a chance to meet her and all that kind of stuff. And I think she has both a master's divinity degree and a law degree as well. So she's powerful speaker, powerful presence, and really kind of coming to her own, doing a lot of good stuff. So she's going to be in the area. And again, I think it's at Lebanon Valley College. I'll find out more and I'll get back to you folks. But I think she's also authored a book or two as well. So anyhow, there's a lot of stuff going on. Please take advantage of it. Dr. Dan Snowden, did you have another piece for us?
Yes.
Okay.
The other one here, I'll scroll up and find this next one.
While Dr. Dan is looking for that, don't forget we do have a couple things coming up, that will involve young people. And we hope that you will come out and support those young folks as they participate in poetry competitions and presentations and all that kind of good stuff. There's a lot going on, and we hope to be a part of it. Oh, let me mention that the IMC, the Interdenominational Ministers Conference, will take place. I think it's August I believe it's the 16th, 17th, and 18th, the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, August 16th, 17th, and 18th here in Harrisburg at Macedonia Baptist Church. And doors open, I think, at 6 or 6:30. And the first speaker I know on the 16th is Dr. Brenda Alton, who is an outstanding, minister, as all the others are. But she's been in this community as the head of the pastor of Harambe, church, as well as Kingdom Embassy. It's the same church, but they changed their names in midstream there. And she's a powerful speaker. But the other two speakers, I understand, are absolutely powerful as well. And I'm looking forward to hearing everybody. So that's the evenings of the 16th, 17th, and 18th here in Harrisburg at Macedonia Baptist Church. Dr. Dan, are you ready?
Yep, I'm set to go.
Okay.
Here's Life's Lemons, no thank you. How often has this common phrase been said, when life hands you lemons, make lemonade? Okay, but one should also consider other foods that make or surpass the grade. Life is often difficult and unfair, in spite of the efforts that are given to make the best of bad situations, which come no matter how well we're driven. Sometimes we can take life's lemons quite far, using creative manipulation, transforming many a disappointment into items of great fascination. However, it is worthwhile to note, life's lemons are not always meant to take. Lemon-based drinks, desserts, and other things cannot serve as the only foods to make. There are always a few alternatives to accepting life's lemons as their cast, by turning them into other things palatable, by bringing in other items, a blast. Life's lemons really need to be set aside to allow for more outcome diversity. Let's have all other foods available for quelling this manner of travesty. This person plans to place life lemons with farther along and by too. If they really don't need to be present, to life's lemons I say, no thank you.
Good. Thank you, Dan.
Certainly.
Nice.
Good stuff. Any comments, anybody?
Nice. I like it. I like how he put his words together. You always find the words to put together to, for it to rhyme and flow smoothly. So
Yeah, like I said, I have to actually think about it when I write. I mean, it just doesn't come natural like it does for some of you.
yeah.
But you did a great job, Dan. You do a great job.
Very good. Nice.
Yes, indeed.
Oh, thanks, appreciate it.
Yep. Well, Brother Chris always pulls up about 4 good videos for us. And so I want to, honor that and not let that go to waste. We've already seen 2 tonight. Here's another one. Thank you. Okay, another poetry from you, please. Okay.
Dear American Christian, Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior.
Can you turn that up a little bit, Chris?
He was not born in a bustling liberal city nor a rural conservative town. He is not
I think
Western.
it's up as far as it goes. Is everyone else
okay.
Here? Is it really low? Can anyone else hear it, or is it really low?
Ro, can you hear it? Dazil, can you hear it? Okay. Cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
Dear American Christian, Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, is not an American. He was not born in a bustling liberal city nor a rural conservative town. He is not Western. He did not ask the blind man for his insurance card before opening his eyes. He did not think of Smith & Wesson when he said, "Blessed are the peacemakers." He did not feed the 5,000 with McChickens and Happy Meals. Dear American Christian. Patriotism. Dear American Christian, Jesus Christ, our Lord and Savior, is not an American. He was not born in a bustling liberal city nor a rural conservative town. He was not Western. He did not ask the blind man for an insurance card before opening his eyes. He did not think of Smith and Wesson when he said, "Blessed are the peacemakers." He did not feed the 5,000 with McChickens and Happy Meals. Dear American Christian, patriotism is not a fruit of the Spirit, nor is racism, nor is xenophobia, nor is hashtag all lives matter. As a matter of fact, if Jesus Christ was to roll all up in this piece with his long bearded Middle Eastern glory, how many of us would clutch our loved ones tighter? Search his glorious gifts for explosives. Find the nearest exit. Dear American Christian, John 3:16 does not say, "Make America great again," nor America first, nor build that wall. Do you not recall that when Jesus gave up the ghost, his spirit tore a temple veil in half from top to bottom? He's a God of breaking down barriers, not reinforcing them. Dear American Christian, the Bible does not say to love the Lord your God with all your heart and all your soul and all your strength and all your mind, and to only love those who look like you or love like you. When Jesus showed love to the Samaritan woman, he showed that you can love without agenda. You can love outside of gender. You can love outside of race. The Bible does not say that they will know that we are Christians by our self-righteousness, by our fancy Sunday morning church hats and side eyes. Dear American Christian, Jesus Christ did not use Garnier Nutrice nor Pantene Pro V. He did not have the kind of hair that glistens gold in the sunlight. He did not have clouds in his skin, nor oceans in his eyes. No, he was a man. Skin of brown, hair of lamb's wool. He was a man, unlawfully killed, unceremoniously buried. Does that sound familiar, saints? Can you hear the fall of a guiltless man? Can you hear the mobs screaming out, half saying crucify him, the other half begging for his life to matter? Do the cries of the innocent haunt our prayers? Yet tell me, dear American Christian, if Jesus Christ were to die today, which side of the riot would you be on? That's it. That's the end of the poem.
Powerful. I like it.
Yeah.
So I was waiting for more. I like it. He was going. Dear American Christian, good stuff. And that poetry me please, Brother Chris, do you have any idea where that is originating from?
I'll have to look into it, Dr. Gadsden. I'm not 100% sure, sir.
Yeah, I'm just wondering. That sounds like a powerful platform. At one point, he when he made that one phrase about I forget exactly what he said, but anyhow, the audience kind of erupted and they were going off. I didn't know what was happening there, and then he started all over again. That was pretty interesting. I thought, okay, really powerful. Sound like a lot of young folks, wherever it is. Sound like a big venue. It's good stuff. Good stuff. Again, I'd like to remind you that there are a lot of great things coming up. And we hope that you'll get out there and get involved. I know this is the writers, workshop, but we also want to be community minded. And by being community minded, we become better writers as far as I'm concerned. So keep in mind that, Roe reminded us to be observers, that we can gain much by looking and seeing, paying attention to, listening. That can be a powerful writer's technique. We mentioned the word cozy at the top of the show as well. And that is a technique of, having the incident, the murder, whatever, happen very near the end, at the beginning of the story. And then, kind of following the story along to see almost like a whodunit kind of thing. And even if you know who did it, the reasons why they may have done it. There used to be a piece that came on that it showed you the murder, and then it would go back into the story of why it all took place. And it unfolded nicely. I forget the name of that. It'll probably come on again in the fall. But it was intriguing because it showed you right up top who killed the person. But then you had no idea what was really going on. Did they kill them because they were murderers? Or did they kill them because, vice versa, the person was trying to kill them, or just what was happening, It was powerful stuff. And I thought, boy, that's a different twist. I don't know what that's called, but, it's a writing technique again. There's another technique where a person, and my wife talks about this all the time, where They write very, very short chapters. And the thought was that people don't like to read long chapters. They want to get through it. So this person became extremely famous with, and then it sort of started a revolution of more novelists are using the very short chapters to tell the story, as opposed to having the long chapter. Say it again.
I love a novella.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And the novella. Explain what a novella is, bro.
The series that I wrote, or all three of them, are novellas. Basically, they're if you think about the book form, they're under. Some of them can be under 100 pages. Yeah, but you have a novella, a novelette, and then you have a full novel.
And a novelette's larger than the novella, I take it. And then the novel, of course, is the largest or most. Yeah. Okay, it's interesting. And just in your characterization of a novelette, how many pages do you expect? Is that like 150 or so, or what?
Well, actually, it's the other way around. The novel is the largest. Novella is second, and the novelette is the third.
Oh, novelette's the third. Okay, all right, good.
So a novelette is more like a short story, like
right, just a short story. Okay,
it's like a novelette where you may have under page wise, you may have you definitely have under 150 pages.
Good. Excellent. I noticed that a lot of people, Neil Owens, who was on earlier, is one. He is writing a series of stories, short stories, and then put them into an actual book, novel, and that's a technique that a lot of people use as well. Instead of telling the story from A to Z in one big, tell a series of stories that may not even be connected, but constitutes, an overall theme. It could be romance, could be, betrayal, murder, whatever,
But
with the different stories.
Funny, after attending this conference, and pitching to several traditional publishers, what they're really looking for are books, and it doesn't really seem that the genre really matters, but industry wants you to write at least 65 to 70K.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, 65 to 70,000 words.
Yeah.
Constitute a novel. Okay. Good. Interesting. Well, so Brazil, what's going on up your way? Is there anything coming up that we need to know about?
Not really. I know there's a lot of activities going on this summer, so much to mention, but offhand, not off of my head. I'm not familiar.
I will say this, up in New York, don't forget that on September, let me look at my little calendar here to make sure I'm saying it right. I think it's Saturday, September the 23rd, which is something else that's going on that kind of will conflict with that for us. But I'm hoping to get up to the Harlem Book Fair. And the Harlem Book Fair will be taking place, like I said, Saturday, September 23rd, in Harlem, New York. And I believe they said it's from 9 to 5 or something like that. I've always loved the Harlem Book Fair. Just absolutely love it because of all the people that they bring in and the energy, and it's Harlem. Come on, And so anyhow, I would imagine that over the last couple of years, it was difficult to have because of COVID, maybe they didn't have it at all. So this probably is a spring back, a bring back conference. But if you get a chance to go up, the vendors, all the authors will be there. In the past, at least they had hundreds of authors. And then they have the Schomburg, library that's right there. And they always have a lot of wonderful panels throughout the day at the Schomburg. So if you get a chance to get up to New York City, get up to Harlem, check it out. Check out the Harlem Book Fair, okay? All right, and Dan, did you have anything that you know of, anything that's coming up?
Not presently, but it's just every second and fourth Sunday, though, I guess from 2 to 6. Where the old McDevitt used to be?
Yes.
And the bridge, I know they held a Sunday fun day there. It's mainly a festival for children, and sometimes I volunteer there to help out with some of the activities.
Excellent. And I see they have a big thing coming up. I saw a flyer. Yeah, I don't know what they're calling it, but okay, I didn't realize it's every second and fourth. That's wonderful. But yeah, they two young African American entrepreneurs have decided to pour their money into the old McDevitt building up there on Market Street, and they're going to make that into a multifunctional kind of site. And right now they're doing some stuff over the summertime. It looks real exciting, like you said, for children. One is gardening. I know they're going to do a big gardening thing there for young people. So, hats off to them. Great stuff.
It works, actually. The garden actually works because there have been instances where some of the produce coming from the garden has been given to individuals in the Allison Hill neighborhoods.
Oh, nice. That's good. Excellent, excellent. Good stuff. Well, I know we're going to quickly run out of time here. Let me see, what do we have? Yep, we only have 1 minute left. So I want to thank everybody for coming on tonight. Ro, it is so good to see you again. Please stay in tune because you're part of this family, as you know. We know that Wendy did a bang-up job last week. She couldn't come on tonight, but I was blessed enough to be along with my wife and Cabo Brunson, who leads the charge here in AXO. We had a wonderful time in Boston, Massachusetts, and all that good stuff. And the young people seemed to really enjoy themselves. And then, like I said, Wendy stepped in, and that was great. But a lot of things are coming up. We're going to do a better job of putting all this stuff on site. We want to thank Brother Chris for creating the site for us. And we're going to, post everything up there so that you'll be able to find out all these things anytime, day or night. And hey, we'll keep it moving. So God bless everybody. In the words of Chucky Pitts, write on. And whatever you do, don't stop writing on, okay? And we hope to see you next Friday. All right?
Okay.
Good night, everybody.
Bye.
Okay.
Good night.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Nice. Find your voice and use it. Use your voice and find it. Right on. Cultural Fest. There you go.